back to the Unknown Theories podcast. I am Taylor, here with my co-host,
Oddball.
and we are going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff today. We're going to talk about Andor a little bit. We're going to talk about Thunderbolts because it's been a while and we saw that actually together, which is cool. Then we're going to talk about some Superman and Doomsday and Fantastic Four and all other stuff. So, why don't you lead us into the first topic? It's been a little bit, but let's just get rolling.
Yeah, let's do it. Kind of just like I thought it'd be fun to do an opening warm up convo because it's been a minute since we did it. So I was curious who you thought would win, Sentry versus Superman. Who's going to win in that fight?
Superman.
Okay, why is that?
One is essentially born with the powers. The other is created with a super serum.
I guess in Sentry is also a lot more unstable, huh? So that's something.
A little bit more unstable. I mean, it definitely is. It's not going to be like it's like 100% Superman, but I would say like 9 times out of 10, it's probably Superman. I think like if you base him, I mean, are we basing comics versus that? It's kind of tough. I mean, the Sentry in the comics is 1,000 suns. In this one, he was like 100 suns worth of power. Superman isn't really quantified in sun's power, but he can essentially absorb the sun's energy. So maybe they
both use the sun as a quantifying their power, right?
I guess, yeah.
But Sentry comes from within, like he has that serum, but also it seems it's more mythical to like how he gets his power, or it's more mystical, I should say, not mythical. It's more mystical how he gets his power, because like he gets that serum, which is like a super soldier serum almost, but it is like insane. However, it also unlocks the void and that like darkness within him, which is almost like a complete other entity that and everything. So it's kind of interesting. I think a more close fight would be Sentry versus like Blue Marvel, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with Blue Marvel.
I do remember Blue Marvel roughly from some comics.
Yeah, he's awesome. Super smart. He's like Superman, except like highly like hyper intelligent scientist.
What do you think, Sentry versus Superman?
I think ultimately Superman would win.
Okay.
I think there's just something about his innate will that would overcome Sentry in the end. I think it would be a brutal fight, but I think Sentry would lose in the end. I think Superman would get the edge on him. I mean, Superman is Superman in the end, you know?
True. How about Omni-Man versus Superman?
Oh, that's a slaughter. Superman annihilates.
You think?
Omni-Man.
You think?
Yeah.
Man, they test each other against these super people. Like Omni-Man is of the top 50. He's top 50 of the whole civilization.
Viltrumites are so much weaker than Kryptonians in terms of like power scale. As long as the Kryptonians are within like yellow suns or like white suns.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think Viltrumites, I don't know. You see Kryptonians fighting each other, and it's never to the point of where Kryptonians are like ripping off each other's limbs
or puncturing skin or
like or slicing skin, chopping heads off, or like shattering skulls. And I think just Viltrumites' durability is a lot less. I think Viltrumites are really strong though.
Okay, their strength is there, but the durability that Superman has would win out.
Okay, so I think if we, since this conversation is getting a little expanded, I think Sentry and Superman. I think Omni-Man and Superman. I think Superman. I think Omni-Man and Homelander Omni-Man.
Okay, and I think Omni-Man and Sentry.
Omni-Man and Sentry. I think Sentry. So
Okay.
it goes Superman, Sentry, Omni-Man, Homelander.
Yeah. Well, obviously Homelander's the weakest because he has no one to test himself with.
Yeah. And it's just
Superman and Sentry have people to test themselves with. Omni Man has his own race to test himself against, but he's never faced anything stronger than a Viltrumite.
yeah, true.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cuz I think even Omni-Man, isn't the toughest of his,
Okay.
empire.
Emperor Thrag.
Yeah. But even like Mark is like becomes stronger than
Right, right, right,
all of them. And that's honestly because of his half human DNA,
right.
um, which is cool. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe we should move on to the
Fun
next
little, fun little
conversation.
opening warm up.
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah,
else in the comments leave your answers and rankings of which Superman esque character is the strongest?
yeah. And I didn't even put Blue Marvel on that list, but I think he would be. Yeah, never. We're
No,
never gonna
that's
get
not
past.
Adam. That's not Adam.
Um, first thing I wanted to talk about real quick is Tron Ares because I
Oh,
don't know
right.
how many people are big Tron fans in this, that are watching or listening,
Mm,
but there is a new Tron movie coming out. I think there's been
okay.
kind of of a resurgence on Tron Legacy. I remember when it came out, it wasn't super popular with the fans. I feel like it was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. And I
Wait,
think
which
there's
one? The 1980s?
no the Tron Legacy. The
Oh, the, like 2010 or something like that.
yeah, something like that. The one
Yeah,
with
yeah.
yeah, I can't remember his name, but it also had like Olivia, what's her name, and Jeff Bridges. But
Which Jeff
yeah,
Bridges
so
was a um, he was in
the
the
pro
original.
yeah, so that's kind of cool. I think that movie was ahead of its time. I think there's a lot of cool aspects to it as well, and it just seems like a lot of people like it a lot more. It has a killer soundtrack. It
Hmm.
looks aesthetically pleasing. It's very visually stunning in a lot of ways, and I think Tron Ares is attempting that. The only thing I think that's going to hold it back is a little actor that they got in there, known as Jared Leto. Um, Totally turned me off from the movie. I probably won't see it in theaters now because
Mm.
of him. And I mean, I just like don't like the guy. I don't think he's a good actor. I don't think he's a good person. Um, I think it's just gonna ruin the movie, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. I've heard a lot
Mm.
of people say the same stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah, I mean, he's a cult
who knows.
leader. He's an actor and singer that has, pretty big ego. I will say he didn't ruin Blade Runner 2049, but he
Well,
wasn't
that's
that big
good.
of a character. I mean, he was only in it for like, a small amount.
Yeah, so was Dave
But
Bautista, and Dave Bautista's awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think he ruined the movie with him being in it. Um, but so it depends on maybe the role he has. Is he the main character? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know if
Because that's
I
a
don't think he's
crazy like.
don't think he's a main character. He might be a villain. I don't know. I really don't know much about it. I just know that I saw the trailer. I was like, "This is pretty cool," and my wife can attest to this because she had the same reaction. We were like, "This looks pretty cool," and
Mhm.
then you see his face, and it looks like a scene out of frickin' Morbius, and you're like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah, making him
no!"
the face of anything is gonna be weird.
It's gonna be a turnoff for a lot of people,
Um,
and I think it's weird that Disney's even using him. I don't
right.
know, but
Yeah, it's a little strange.
we'll see how the
Well,
movie performs because of that resurgence, that kind of cult following that Tron Legacy has, and
yeah.
just the Tron fandom in general.
Hmm.
But I just wanted to do a little quick segment on that, and moving into another discussion before we have you talk about Thunderbolts and Doomsday and stuff. Um, Andor season 2. I know you haven't finished it, and I'm sure
Hmm.
there's some
Hmm.
people that haven't finished it that are listening. So I'm not going to
Hmm.
spoil anything. I just want to say it's kind of cool. It's started charting on like Nielsen, which is a viewership aggregate. Um, it looks like it's reached the number 2 spot for the weeks for May 1st through the 8th, which is pretty awesome. and its estimated minutes watched is over 700 million, which is like almost a 50% increase from the previous weeks, which is pretty awesome. So I think, um, I mean, the finale and last 2 weeks of this season could be even higher.
Hmm.
I think that's pretty cool because, we've talked about it before. Season one had like nobody watching it,
Right.
and then a lot of people started watching it afterwards.
I think
And then
this is a
now,
testament to, yeah, like that following that came after it came out, because people are
mhm,
like, why do we need to see Cassian Andor? He's such a different character in Rogue One. We don't
yeah,
really
we know
care
he
about him.
dies. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like what's even the point? And then you see everything else come together. And you know me, if you've been a fan of the Unknown Theories channel back when we were Unknown Regions, talking mostly about just Star Wars and Marvel. Um, I'm the biggest defender of Andor. I remember we would have conversations, and I remember I would say Andor number one, and you'd be like, I don't know about it's being number one. I don't know if you still would agree, but I think it's number one thing that Disney has ever made with Star Wars.
I think the number one thing that Disney's made with Star Wars is Rogue One, uh, in
Okay.
terms of
Okay.
content.
Fair. Okay. Okay.
Um,
TV show that they made.
TV shows, I think Andor has the strongest like writing
Okay.
and
Okay.
acting. I don't think it's the strongest Star Wars show. I think it
Right.
misses a lot of that Star Wars element. I think there
Hmm.
is that stuff with like, fighting the Empire, which is a aspect of it, but I think it lacks a lot of that mysticism that is in Star Wars, that
Sure.
kind of like
Sure.
fantastical elements, stuff that
That's the galaxy's a
Chirrut
big
and
place.
yeah, totally. Not everyone's force sensitive, and they do have some elements in the show. I don't want to spoil anything.
Spoilers.
Um, no, nothing like that. But I think that you kind of like miss some stuff with Andor that kind of makes it feel like it's in the Star Wars universe. Because like
Hmm.
truthfully, you could put it in any sort of sci-fi dystopian
Right. Right. Sure.
world, and it would
Could you
work.
put it in Red Rising?
In Red Rising,
Yeah, you little
I
Red
mean,
Rising fan.
I think you could. I don't think
Oh.
it's a I mean, Red Rising to it's just a different societal structure.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. There
Sorry,
is
I don't
like
want
an
to. I don't
almost
want to. I don't want to diverge us.
bro, don't even start me on Red
Yeah,
Rising.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Andor,
I'll
Andor, Andor. I
yeah,
Yeah. As
anyways.
much of a defender of Andor I was, I didn't. I haven't really been able to watch it. When it first came out, I wasn't really ready. There was just a bunch of other things that I was doing and watching, and I just was like, oh, I can't do this right now. And then we had to cancel our Disney Plus subscription, and so even if I wanted to right now, I can't. um and but I will get to it. I do
Cool.
want to get to it because again, I'm the biggest Andor defender. um and Yeah, I mean, same thing though with like Rogue One. Like, there was a little bit of mysticism, but it was still mostly grounded,
For
because
sure.
you had what's his name, the blind guy, I can't remember his name.
But I mean, even from the beginning, you have Jyn Erso's mom talking about like trusting in the Force, giving her Kyber crystal
Sure,
and things
sure,
like
yeah.
that. Something she's always carrying with her.
Hmm.
And then yeah, you have Chirrut Emwe.
And then
The
Darth
Force
Vader,
is
of
with
course, at
me.
the end.
Yeah, yeah. So and
So there is mysticism, but yeah, I get
yeah,
it.
there is those Star
In
Wars
Andor,
elements
there's
too.
nothing.
Yeah, and you have even little moments with you know, director Krennic meeting, talking with Darth Vader, stuff like that.
Yeah, true, true.
Tarkin
On
showing up.
Mustafar.
Yeah, having these big players like just make small cameos in there. And then
Hmm.
obviously you have that hallway scene with Darth Vader at the end, which was like a total shock and like blew away. Like, oh my goodness, that was so
Hmm.
cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Andor is a really, really good show. I
Mm.
don't, however,
Thank
think
you.
it's the best Star Wars show. I think the best Star Wars show is Clone Wars. And I think there's
Hmm.
a lot of like obviously goofy episodes in there, but like the overall story of Star Wars, the characters, the themes of it is the most Star Wars TV show that we have ever got and probably ever will get.
Hmm.
I think the closest thing we've gotten besides that is Tales of the Jedi.
Right.
Maybe Bad Batch, but even not so much Bad Batch. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
yeah, Clone Wars will always be number one for me. Andor, it would be cool to do a ranking, but I'm not sure where Andor would sit because I enjoyed a lot of Ahsoka. Didn't
Hmm.
really like the penultimate and finale of it though.
I think the difference that I feel as a movie and TV show enjoyer, not just a Star Wars and Marvel movie and TV show enjoyer,
Hmm.
I could actually rank Andor amongst great TV, whereas I can't rank other Star Wars shows amongst other great TV because they're so niched into Star Wars. And I feel like Andor, because of its writing and its story, can fit amongst the halls of some of those great shows out there.
But I think that's also a little bit of like that Hollywood film critic like elitism because they look down on animated shows and like
Well, sure,
those
I'm not even talking about
final
anime. I'm talking about Mandalorian and
oh yeah for sure
mhm,
I would say also like it comes down to a lot of like what are most people going to think of like their favorite shows of all time.
mhm.
A lot of them aren't going to think of like the highbrow stuff. They're going to think
Mhm.
about stuff that made them feel good, like things like The
Arcane,
Office,
Arcane.
Arcane. You're going to have a lot of people. It really just depends on each
You can have
person's
an
so
animated in
different.
that discussion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think in terms of animated like quality writing, those final 2 or 3 episodes of Clone Wars season 7
Yep, I would
are
agree.
some of the
Those are up there.
highest rated show
Hmm.
like rated Star Wars shows ever, like ever.
I will
And
agree with you on that. I did like the ending to Clone Wars
dude,
when
the
they had got the
dialogue,
budget up, like Bad
my
Batch level
goodness.
budget, kind of like when Bad Batch is good.
Yeah.
I don't know if they keep up that same like Clone Wars season 7
There's
vibe.
some really good stuff with Crosshair and Bad Batch. That's like
Nice. Okay. Okay.
there's one Crosshair episode that I would consider one of the best, like Clone
Hmm.
Wars esque episodes. Phenomenal. But
Right.
yeah. Anyways,
Okay.
I just thought that was cool for Andor season 2. You want to lead us into Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts. Um, yeah. We talked about it on our last pod that it was going to be coming out in a week after we put up the pod, which it did come out like that week that we put the pod up on Oddball's channel. And it was really good. I liked it a lot. I think it was a step in the right direction for Marvel
Mm-hmm.
compared to some of the other stuff that's been out. I had no interest in seeing the Marvels, and I think most other people didn't either. I think it had pretty bad reception. Um, and besides anything else, I think only a few movies really stood amongst the same ranks. I kind of like Shang-Chi, so I'd put that up there as well with Thunderbolts, and then of course No Way Home. But I think No Way Home kind of gained a lot of its um, uh, notoriety due to its like nostalgia with all of the Spider-Mans in it. So personally to me, it kind of reduces it as a movie because it's such a nostalgia bait, but I
I think you need to
still love the
rewatch it.
heart.
I
I do
rewatched
like
it.
it still.
I think I rewatched it. Wow, it was probably actually 2 years ago that I rewatched it. Now that I think about
Dang.
it, but bro, it had me tearing up. I think it's
Yeah.
such a heartfelt movie. It's really
Yeah,
good.
no, it is. It is. I think that it gets elevated to a status that's crazy though because of the nostalgia. And it still has a good
Yeah,
story. But yeah, I mean, I think, anyways, I would definitely rate it pretty high up. But I think Thunderbolts, it had a lot of heart. It had, it had really good characters that seemed like down to earth and real. With the, each of these kind of anti-hero, once villain kind of characters in different
losers.
properties. Yeah, pretty much losers, which who isn't a loser? And we could kind of connect with
Hey,
them,
what
and
the
then you get
heck?
the
No.
then you could get the connection to Bob Sentry, and this
Hmm.
introduction of this character that is going to be monumentally important when it comes to the story of Marvel going forward.
Hmm.
This duality of Void and Sentry will be a pretty big contender in a lot of
He's
rankings from now on.
Is he the Mind Stoned? Is he the Mind
Hmm.
Stone?
Yeah, I love.
Interesting.
Okay, now you're getting me into my brain theory where we were talking about
So
like
if I
if
can jump in
certain.
real quick
Yeah, sure,
before
sure,
you,
sure, sure.
before you
We'll go
go
into
off because
this in
you're
a
about to
second.
go off.
Yeah, I'm about to go
um,
off.
yeah, I just want to say like because we got to watch this together because I flew back home
Yeah,
and which awesome. We haven't seen all of us brothers. Haven't seen a movie in Kris too, which was cool.
yeah, yeah.
Slippy as he's called um, on the interwebs.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see a movie together as a group
Hmm.
because one of the best parts about watching Marvel movies back in the day was having those discussions at the end. Like, oh my
Hmm.
goodness, like, did you see that post credit scene? This could mean this. And then you all have your theories. And it's just so much fun in that aspect. And I really enjoyed that. And I haven't had a Marvel movie like that in forever where I was able to do that and like had that excitement. I didn't go see Brave New World. I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus,
Yeah,
but
I saw it.
because it's
It was
on there
good.
now. I didn't watch the Marvels, and I don't even know which one was before that.
I don't remember.
But
That
yeah,
might
I
have been
mean,
Ant-Man, honestly. No,
was it
did
Guardians?
that? It might have been Guardians. Yeah. Well,
It might have been
because
Guardians, and then Quantumania, and
so we
like
had Thunderbolts,
Guardians.
Deadpool, Marvels, Guardians, whatever.
Yeah, and Quantumania not good. Guardians was good. Marvel
Deadpool
didn't
Wolverine was
see.
good.
Deadpool Wolverine was good, although yeah, no, that's just another
I
discussion.
mean, it can also get into the realm of No Way Home with nostalgia. I will
And I
agree
think
on
it
that.
does so more, and I think it's
Okay.
more of like a fun popcorn movie whereas
Mhm.
there's a lot more
I
heart.
mean, Deadpool kind of is a fun popcorn character.
Yeah, for
He's not
sure.
really meant to be taken seriously. Like he is the joke character that breaks the
Yeah,
fourth wall and plays with a dead man skeleton.
it's true. I
Okay.
think
Anyway, sorry.
also, yeah. But anyways, Thunderbolts was great. I loved it. It didn't pop off on the box office, unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
in terms of like domestic and international. The worldwide box office total for it is at 361 million, which is kind of a bummer because it's a
Hmm.
really good film and it's probably one of the best ones they've done in a long time. In a long
Hmm.
time, I enjoyed it more than I would say I enjoyed Guardians Volume 3.
Hmm.
Uh, but there's just like that's just a lot of like I don't know. I think Guardians 3 is good, but I think it just also and again another discussion. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I think Thunderbolts got really good reviews. I think it's sitting at a 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. If anyone cares, if people take that review
Hmm.
sites seriously,
Was that
and then we got
Guardians?
a. You said what?
Was that Guardians at
No,
88%?
Thunderbolts.
Oh, Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Yeah. But yeah, I think Thunderbolts is a great film. I think it's well worth it to watch. I think it has a great acting in terms of Yelena. She's an awesome character. I think Red Guardian killed it. Dude, Bob is a great introduction.
Hmm.
Just all of it. And then the setup at the end with the post credit scene, fantastic. All of it was really good. It felt so much like the old Marvel movies, and that gives me hope for Doomsday, which we should discuss after you go off on the Infinity Stone idea because
Yeah.
that ties to Doomsday.
I think we talked about it a little bit in the parking lot. So there's a couple of like channels I watch that do reviews or reactions to movies and Marvel specifically. And there's one that I watch. I won't name, but two of the people are very knowledgeable and they're very excited all the time, kind of like you and me. And it felt like very similar to one of their videos because they just like want to go off on these topics, but they stop, and then there's usually four of them, and they'll let the other two guys talk first about what they think about it, and then they get to go into it because they're
Nice.
ready to go, but they let the guys that are not as excited. So I was thinking about that with us seeing the movie, and we were talking afterwards, and you and I were just going back and forth, and I think other people were just like, we're just kind of hanging out, having
Having their
fun.
own conversations, yeah.
Yeah, not really like as into it. And we kind of
Yeah, I
asked
think our
them what
brother
they.
Sam was like, "Look at the moon." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Oh man, but yeah. Anyways, so there is a theory that there always has to be, and we're the unknown theories, so we got to talk about this. But there was a conversation of like, there always has to be the Infinity Stones, and so when Thanos destroyed all the Infinity Stones, maybe he destroyed their physical like forms, but the essence of them were put into other people essentially. I
Okay, yeah.
mean, after Endgame, we see WandaVision happen, and she
Hmm.
gets extremely powerful, maybe more powerful than she ever was. I mean, she becomes a cosmic threat, like a multi-dimensional threat
Yeah.
after. I mean, maybe that was also just because of grief, but I think part of it
Also, the
maybe has to
book
do.
that she had.
Right, that is true. She did have the Necronomicon. Uh,
Yeah, something like that.
but so she would kind of be the reality stone, right? Because she deals with reality warping magic. Um, then we got the Soul Stone, which was born after, which was born after the destruction of the stones, which is Adam Warlock, who was introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And we'll see more of maybe what that's like, but a lot of people have been talking about the Marvel Rivals game because he's a healer in it. And so Soul Stone and healing and stuff like that's kind of interesting. So we'll kind of see
Yeah.
more of his magic. He was very young. I think he was only supposed to be like 3 or 4 years old as a created entity in Guardians of the Galaxy
I
Volume
think
3.
so, yeah.
Um,
Super young.
because we saw his cocoon in like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or something like that,
Hmm.
or something. I don't remember. But anyways, then the Mind Stone we're talking about with Sentry,
Hmm.
which is pretty interesting. Um, and like his fight for his mind between him and Void is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Then we have the Space Stone, which a lot of people were kind of aiming at America Chavez from Multiverse of Madness and her ability to go through space.
Interdimensions.
Yeah, so she can go through space and
Interdimensional.
time. So that would make sense. And she's kind of like a singular being across the multiverse. Um, Actually, I don't know how that works. Is there multiple of her if she can go multiple places in the universe?
I don't think so. I think she's the only one of her
Kind of
set.
like Galactus or things like that,
Yeah. I think she's
or Living Tribunal.
I think she's like a singularity across
Mm-hmm.
the multiverse.
Okay. So yeah, then that would kind of lean to the effect that she also came around after the Infinity Stones were destroyed. So all of these people are kind of coming around after the Infinity Stones. And then the
Interesting.
final one is Agatha, which technically she was there before the Infinity Stones, but she's only been gaining power. And that was where she would be the Power Stone because she
Ooh.
has the ability to absorb power. I didn't watch the Agatha show, but I don't know if you did.
I did not.
But I heard that her whole thing is like absorbing people's magic. That's why she was kind of there trying to get Wanda's power during WandaVision.
That's interesting.
And she's all purple. So purple is the power stone. And then the final one is
It's
the
all
green for the time
colors.
stone. And this one would be Loki because he's always using green magic.
And he's the
And
keeper of the time
he is
timeline.
keeper of the times because of Loki season 2. And he's at the bottom of Yggdrasil, right? Or something.
Yeah. It's
Um,
well, I mean, in
I
a
mean,
way,
his
it's
own
like he's
version.
yeah, he's like symbolizing that.
Yeah,
Um,
because he's a Norse god in the series. But
yeah.
yeah, so he's kind of like time, and so we have all the stones manifest in beings. I think that's really cool.
No, that's one I remember you telling me that and I was like that actually works pretty well.
Hmm.
Um because in Secret Wars, Doomsday to kind of prevent the collapse or whatever. I think I
Hmm.
could be wrong on this. I haven't read it in a while. He uses Molecule Man, and he uses like a
Oh,
bunch of them to basically become Emperor Doom, a God Emperor, and kind of rule over Battle World, and
right.
basically be in charge of everything. And so
Hmm.
I think that would be very interesting if we see him, rather than gathering up all the Infinity Stones, he's gathering up all the people that are in charge of like that essence of
Hmm.
what those Infinity Stones symbolized in the universe. And I think that it fits almost too perfectly. It's
Right.
like color coded.
I mean,
And
and it's all after the Infinity Stone saga.
yep, yeah,
That's crazy.
it's cool because yeah, the Infinity Stones don't exist. And I remember something during the whole Infinity War saga, they were talking about how like if you don't have the Infinity Stones, your
You don't have the
galaxy
universe.
is doomed. Yeah, your
Hmm.
universe is doomed. And so we were all just like, well, they don't have them anymore. They returned them to their appropriate timelines.
Yep.
What does that mean? Is the galaxy going to die? Which could also connect to Secret Wars in a way with, incursions and whatnot. But I
Yeah,
think it'd be
because you were talking
really
about the
cool.
importance of incursions.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think it'd be really cool if you see Doomsday collecting these beings to bring about Battle World and bring about
Hmm.
Secret Wars.
That makes me think that the first stone that Doctor Doom is going to go for is the Time Stone, and the reasoning is because of oh gosh, why can't I think of what they're called? What is the Time Variance
Is
Authority?
it TVA?
TVA. Yeah, he's going to go for the TVA and Loki first to have
Interesting.
access because they're the ones with imminent knowledge of incursions.
Hmm.
They all know universes that are going to die.
Yeah,
I mean, they talked about it even in Deadpool and Wolverine, like
that's
the
true.
whole fact. And so, like this idea that there's going to be universes that are dying and stuff like that, I think it would be probably beneficial. And then also, it's a good way for them to completely sever themselves from Kang, and they can use maybe some of their storyboarding they already maybe had with the TVA and the multiverse saga.
Yeah. No, that's actually
Boom.
really cool. Boom.
So
That'd be
that's
cool
it
too,
there.
because like now is he gonna like take the power from Loki, and is Loki gonna be like someone that warns of
Maybe
Doctor Doom, or is he gonna kill Loki, or is he gonna take him cat like prisoner? Is he gonna capture him?
maybe he just gets the knowledge of the TVA.
Hmm. Interesting.
Was TVA or sorry, was Loki season 2 before or after Deadpool?
I think it was before.
Okay. So TVA still has some powers. I would like to think that maybe he gets access to it and starts utilizing the god of stories, aka Loki, to
Interesting.
enact his will to create Battle World.
Yeah, I'm curious how he's gonna be able to. Is he gonna like convince these people to ally with him? Is he gonna
Brute force.
defeat
He's
them? Like, yeah, I'm
I
like
mean
curious how he's.
he
I
has a
know he's
god
doomed, so
complex.
he's gonna
Yeah.
figure out how to do it. But
I
yeah, that's
mean, yeah.
interesting. I know that Avengers Doomsday did get a delay of 7 months or something like
Okay.
that. So now it is slated to be released in December of next year, December
Oh,
18th.
dang. That's
It's a long
brutal.
wait. It's a long wait.
But hopefully that means that it's good. I would rather them take
Yeah.
longer and make it good than rush it.
I think there's a lot of big things that they're doing. I was listening to someone discuss kind of like a lot of the speculation around the Doomsday and Secret
Hmm.
Wars and how they're going to be showing. I mean, already with the Fantastic Four, we're going to be seeing a planet in which the Fantastic Four are the main heroes. 616, we have our Avengers. You
Hmm.
know, we already have that crew.
Hmm.
um, Fantastic Four, we're going to see their world, their
Hmm.
universe, where they're the heroes. And then we're going to see an X-Men universe
We kind of
where
already
it's
have
like,
maybe with Deadpool.
I mean, kind of, but this is going to be different. This is going to be like a utopia where the X-Men are the heroes.
Oh.
Everyone looks up to them. But there's going to be a twist. This is like kind of like a new speculation in the field. they're filming on the set. I can't remember what it's called. It's this really massive like castle looking place. Supposedly it's going to be Magneto's castle. So we're going to see
Oh,
Magneto as the head of the X-Men, of the mutants on their planet in their
he
universe.
won.
Yeah,
Oh.
in a way, yeah. But I thought that was kind of cool because,
Mhm.
we're going to see our main three heroes, hero groups, I should say,
Yeah.
in their respective universes, and we're going to see
Hmm.
all of those universes collide into Battle World in Secret
Hmm.
Wars. I think that's pretty
Oh.
awesome.
Oh, we didn't mention. Okay, everybody who hasn't seen it, mute your mics for about a minute. I
Your
think that's all.
headsets for sure.
Three, two, one. Okay. End of Thunderbolts. Um, they have the end credit scene where Fantastic Four is coming into the atmosphere.
Yes.
So we know that that's after Fantastic Four and before or in during Doomsday, because it was released that the Russo brothers were the ones that directed that scene.
Interesting. That's right. I remember.
They were
uh,
on set in London. All the actors were talking about. They're like, yeah, we just did that like 2 weeks before the movie came out, and
all
they got
right.
we recorded that scene, and then the Thunderbolts movie came out. Okay, I think it's probably been about 30 seconds. So if you want to say anything else,
Yeah, I'll put a spoiler tab up
oh, okay, okay.
in
But
the
yeah,
podcast.
anyways, so I think that's really cool. So during Doomsday, the events of the end of Fantastic Four and the end of Thunderbolts kind of happen at the same time.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And as long as they're specifically clear on that, I think that would help the general audience.
Hmm.
Um, that's awesome. Yeah,
Well, because it
no,
said it was like 14 months too after.
yeah, because the new Avengers have been established at that point.
Yep. And
Um,
then the other Avengers started with Sam Wilson.
Sam
So
Wilson,
there's going to be
which like
two Avengers groups, a Fantastic Four, an X-Men. Boom.
yeah, it's all gonna collide, and
Hmm.
then Doom is gonna destroy everything and create his own little battle world or
Hmm.
battle universe or something. That'll be so cool. Dude, I'm so
Right.
excited. I'm also excited because
Um,
I hear that Savage Hulk is coming back. He's
I heard that
becoming,
for the Spider-Man.
yeah. Which I forgot what title they were using.
Brave, no, Brand New
Oh,
Day.
Brand New Day. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Savage
Which does
Hulk
that come out before?
again. This is all like I'm not sure where the timeline sits on all of these.
I mean, it would make sense. Like, we have to have some other stuff happening. So I feel like we have to have more worlds colliding, like we did with the spoiler tag, which I'm not going to bring up now. But that already is some colliding. And then Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and then the Hulks, and then the X-Men,
Hmm.
which I might want to bring this up now rather than later. There was a potential eye on a casting that I think it is almost more confirmed that Bryan Cranston is in the running for Professor X.
Interesting. I could
Um,
see that.
I
That's kind
saw
of
some
cool.
article. I mean, you can never really trust anything on the internet,
How
but
good
I
is
did
his British
see.
accent?
I think he could do it. If anybody could do it, he's one of
He's
the
a great actor.
better actors
Yeah.
out there. And he can pull off bald really good, as we've seen in Breaking Bad.
You know what? I didn't necessarily love all of the latest Fox X-Men run, but I will say that Magneto and Charles in that Professor X and Magneto were so well
Oh, in the
cast.
younger version,
Yeah.
yeah, Michael Fassbender
Fast
and is that James McAvoy? No,
James McAvoy. Yep.
yeah,
Fantastic. They were. I think
yeah,
if we weren't having Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen, they were
right.
perfect for the role. And so
Hmm.
I would love to see them show up rather than getting more casting, new
Hmm.
cast members. I like Bryan Cranston, but I think,
Hmm.
why not bring James McAvoy in? I know that maybe they don't necessarily want to connect to those movies,
Hmm.
but also like it would be cool to
Well, yeah, because
have
they're
them exist in a way.
they are the younger versions of the Patrick Stewart and the Ian McKellen
Yeah,
versions of
supposedly they're
Magneto.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, it is because that is the universe that um, Wolverine keeps coming back to
well, yeah, but they also
through.
had a Dark Phoenix, and then supposedly we're supposed to have another Dark Phoenix. Dark
Yeah, I
Phoenix.
guess that's true. That's
So
true.
like
It
it
got a
doesn't
little
really.
messy. It got a little messy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are old enough if they're planning on doing an older version of them like they did in the original X-Men run.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So, I mean,
It
I,
depends
I
on
did
what they
like them
want to
too.
do with the X Men.
I will say I think Michael Fassbender crushed it.
Dude, yeah.
He was one of the like he's so incredible. One of the best
Oh my
parts of those
goodness, yeah.
movies.
I will say Days of Future Past is a
Uh-huh.
phenomenal. I love that movie.
Hmm.
In
And
terms of
First Class was
X-Men.
good too. I liked
First Class
First
was
Class.
good. Yeah. I think it would go Days of Future Past for me, First Class, and then I'm not going to watch the other ones. I don't
Hmm.
really care.
I think
uh,
the first X-Men wasn't terrible
but
that they did,
well,
but
oh,
yeah. Oh,
I
you're
mean
talking about the old
the early
ones.
2000s. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Those ones have a
The
special
third one
place in the
not good. Last Stand was not good. The second
yeah.
one was okay too, but
And
also
then
not
the
great.
Wolverine movies were pretty messy,
Wolverine
except for
Origin was
Logan.
terrible. The Japanese one was okay, and then Logan was one of the
Phenomenal.
best ever. Yeah.
I think Logan sits up there in the top 5 of best like superhero movies of all time, up there with like
Hmm.
Dark Knight
I
and
agree.
I would say Infinity War. I
Hmm.
think Infinity War over Endgame for sure. But
Yeah, yeah. Infinity War was very good.
yeah,
Okay, should we jump into Fantastic Four or should we
yeah,
jump into
totally.
okay?
Yeah, I
Since we're
don't think
kind of
we
in the
talked
Marvel
about the.
gear.
We didn't really talk about the the latest trailer they had. I don't think, or because they had
Yeah,
another trailer and Superman had another trailer. I know I compare them because they're coming out in the same month.
right, right. Yeah, I guess we probably didn't, but yeah, Fantastic Four continue to coming ripping forward. I'm super excited for this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm, historically wasn't ever really like I'm not one to go seek out the Fantastic Four comics. I like one member of the Richards family, but
Oh
it never
boy,
was really one that I really like went
Franklin
for.
Stan.
Yeah, I know. Um,
Um, no,
but
what were you
yeah.
gonna say? Continue. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say I am excited for this one. I think that with Kevin Feige at the helm, I mean, I'll just keep glazing Kevin Feige. He knows what he's doing with the Marvel universe. Whenever they pull him away, the movies get back. When they put him back in, it goes
Yeah.
good again.
Keep his hand in the cookie jar, okay? Like, what are we
Please,
doing here?
just let him do it. He could
Yeah,
do
let him
everything.
cook.
Let him
Don't.
cook.
Oh man, yeah. When they got a little out of hand there, they when they
Yeah.
sidelined him, they got a little
Yep.
too full of their britches or whatever the
Hmm.
phrase is. Fantastic Four. I am very excited. That's probably like my most anticipated film. Now, I heard some stuff about the screenings for Fantastic Four and Superman. I'll save the Superman one for that discussion. But for this segment, Fantastic Four, I hear the screenings are pretty consistent, is the wording that I've heard
Okay.
from, other channels and other
Yeah.
people. But which is like good. I
Hmm.
think the only critique a lot of people have is that it's not like groundbreaking and like earth shattering. It's like
Mm.
pretty standard, but it's like a good movie nonetheless.
Hmm.
So I'm curious exactly, what that means. I think the latest trailer, again, like I think the theme song for the Fantastic Four is
Oh,
so good. I think it is
oh
so
man.
inspiring. And
Hmm.
we obviously have the theme song for Superman that's also brings a lot of hope and like passion and stuff. So it's just
Hmm.
cool to get all these like powerful instrumentals behind these heroes. And I think the Fantastic Four, the first family, I think they deserve to
Hmm.
be at the forefront of Marvel. You know,
Right.
they're what made Marvel what it is today.
Hmm.
Them and Spider-Man and the X-Men and stuff like that.
Hmm.
The Avengers, like obviously for the MCU, the Avengers are the front man, but you know in the comic books, the Avengers weren't the front man
Hmm.
when it came to X-Men, when it came to Fantastic Four, or Spider-Man.
Yep.
So it's really, which is why obviously Marvel had the rights to the Avengers and all those characters when it came time to make the
Because they weren't
movies,
that popular.
because they didn't sell them off because they weren't that
Uh-huh.
popular. They weren't worth very much.
Spider-Man, Hulk, X-Men, Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes
Boom,
sense.
boom, boom. Yeah.
But now that they're all back together, like the
Oh, they're all
Infinity
in.
Gauntlet.
Yeah. I'm so
Oh,
excited for Fantastic Four.
yep.
Very much excited. And I think everything looks good. I like how the characters are being portrayed. I was
Hmm.
hesitant with Pedro Pascal just because I feel like he's in every
Yeah,
fandom,
yeah.
every movie franchise. But
Hmm.
other than that, I think he is going to do a great read. I think Vanessa Kirby's going to do a great Sue. I think that Johnny's going to be great. Joseph Quinn and
Hmm.
Bacharach, whatever Evan Moss Bacharach or
Yeah,
whatever his
yeah,
name
yeah.
is. Fantastic on the thing as well. No
Hmm.
pun intended with the fantastic there. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for this movie. Um,
I think my favorite thing, which they've already kind of shown in the trailers, is that Sue Storm and Reed Richards are expecting their first child,
First
which
steps.
is Franklin Richards.
Yep.
And one of the big theories for why Galactus is heading to their planet is for Franklin Richards and the power that he has. Like almost like what was it? Oh yeah, that's right. That's what it was. They talked about it a little bit in Eternals. I know you don't care for that movie as much, but they did mention that the Celestials heard the snap in the far reaches of the universe,
Yeah.
and that's why everything started happening after the snap happened.
Yeah.
So, someone like Franklin Richards being born would alert someone like Galactus,
Yeah.
and
Wasn't
the
it?
power.
Wasn't it the snap prevented the celestial from emerging, and
It
then
prevented it from
the
emerging,
blip,
yes.
the bringing everybody back, is what caused it to
Yeah, but
the
there's like some
population.
sort of power thing that like
Yeah.
happened. But anyways, long story short is I think that Franklin Richards and Galactus, of course, in the comics, have a pretty close knit tie to each other. We've kind of talked about Wanda from WandaVision, Scarlet Witch being extremely powerful and reality warping. Franklin Richards is like times 10 on her scale, like
At his full
at,
potential. Yeah.
at at his adult form, yes. Which in most of the comic stretches, Franklin Richards is a baby or like a toddler,
Yeah.
and
Very
adult
young.
Franklin shows up. And with multiverses, it would make sense that Franklin Richards is out there as an adult already.
Hmm.
But we need the context of him being a baby to understand how powerful he is as a adult.
Yeah.
And that
I
also would make sense to why Galactus shrunk himself down to walk in New York City.
curious. Yeah.
Because why else would he become small?
Hmm.
Unless they're going to make him small, which I don't think they will. I think they're going to make
No.
him celestial size.
Yeah, he's gonna be massive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's an interesting theory. I think
Mm-hmm.
Franklin's a big part of it. They're obviously hiding a lot of his involvement in the
Mm-hmm.
movie. Obviously, they've made hints and kind of like confirmed here and there that he's obviously Vanessa Kirby is pregnant. They talk about it in the trailer and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether Galactus shows up for Franklin, that'll be interesting, because then
Yeah.
that adds another dynamic to, are they gonna save themselves to protect
Franklin.
Franklin, because like is
Mm-hmm.
Galactus gonna threaten their family and then the planet as well,
Mm-hmm.
give me Franklin and I won't destroy your planet, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or are they gonna try and fight Galactus, end up having to flee things like that.
Hmm.
Who knows? Um, yeah, I think that could add an interesting element. I'm not
Right.
100% convinced that he's
Okay.
coming
Fair
for
enough.
Franklin, but
I'm just the biggest Franklin Richard stan of all times.
yeah,
I
yeah,
look at that comic panel where he is calling Galactus his herald, and like, oh, like, rise my Galactus. Like, the fact that he's as powerful as that is crazy.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm just
I do
excited.
think I do wonder if they have Franklin, if he is like a major role. Like, I don't know what sort of role he's going to play in the future of Marvel,
Hmm.
because in the comic books, they've had series where he's an adult or like he shows up, but
Hmm.
like, is he going to be a consistent thing in the
Yeah.
MCU coming up? Because he's so powerful. Like, how do you have a character like that without him just like being everything, you know? So
Hmm.
I wonder what his eventual involvement with the MCU will be.
Right. Um. Okay. I think it's time. This is my most anticipated movie of the year.
Jurassic World
Superman.
Rebirth.
Huh?
I said Jurassic World Rebirth.
No, no, no. I'm excited for that, but not as much as Fantastic Four, which is my second most anticipated, and then it is Superman. Superman is going to be incredible. I'm saying it now. David Cornsweet is my Superman forever. Sorry, Henry Cavill, you were cool, but step aside.
Oof.
We've been waiting to hear, or I've been waiting to hear what you think of the latest trailer where we actually get more story.
Or we get more dialogue, yeah, for sure.
Or
Um,
I guess the tone. Oh
uh,
no.
what did I?
You
So
wanted
I
to
mean, it's
wait
been a while
until
since I watched it. I will say
you
the
haven't been
biggest thing
still
that
watching?
stands out. So there's a lot that I liked in it. What
Okay.
I didn't like and what has me the most nervous is his dialogue with Lois Lane.
Really?
Him like getting super upset and angry
Hmm.
in that moment just did not feel like Clark Kent. It did not feel like Kal El.
Really?
That really bothered me. Yeah, but
What
I
part,
think
like that he
what
was getting upset? That's
yeah I
totally
think
in character. He's like, I'm doing the right thing. How could anybody be mad at me? People were
but
gonna
Superman doesn't
die.
act like that. He doesn't get emotional. He doesn't get so you got to think like
I think he gets
Superman
emotional.
has
He's
trained
he's
his
a
whole
farm boy from Kansas.
he doesn't
Uh,
get emotional like that. Read any of the comics. He's not like that at all.
hmm.
Watch the TV shows, the animated Justice League and Superman. He's not like that. He's very stoic. But what I will say before you continue,
Okay.
I don't think that's what James Gunn is going for. He's not going for a stoic Superman. What he's going for is a relatable, down to earth, human Clark Kent Superman. He's going for someone that people can relate to in this current like climate and like current day
Hmm.
and age, I should say. Um, I will say that's just not my jam in terms of a Superman. I don't want a Superman that's like me. I want a Superman that is the ideal. I want a Superman that like inspires. That's why I liked Henry Cavill so much is because he was that stoic Superman. Like he was that very powerful like character that inspired hope. And obviously we see him
I
at
don't think
dark
he
moments.
inspired hope, really.
I think he did. I think people get caught up too much in the Snyderverse, like, oh, so dark and stuff. But watch Man of Steel. Like, it is a
But he
good
he never
movie.
like he won by killing someone.
I
Superman
know.
is different. He
I
is
know. And that
better.
in that in that moment, like, yes, was very divisive for a lot of people. And there were a lot of
Hmm.
Superman fans that totally turned off from the movie at that point.
Hmm.
I remember hearing it all the time. People were like, nah, dude, Superman wouldn't ever kill. Like that's a thing. And I get it. I'm on the camp of like I don't think he should kill. I don't think he
Hmm.
would. I think it works in Man of Steel and I think it works with that version of
It was all
Superman.
about gods, like gods among men. That's what kind of the Justice League or what Snyderverse was all about. Like they were
Well,
all
yeah,
godly
but I
beings.
mean,
They were
James Gunn has talked about how his DCU or DCU is gods and monsters. So,
right, right, right.
but I
Um,
don't know. The trailer was good in a lot of ways. I liked a lot
mhm.
of what I saw with Superman. I did not like that dialogue. I thought it just didn't feel right.
See,
It like
yeah,
really
yeah, and
pulled me
fair
out, and
enough.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know
See,
about that.
fair enough. I feel that I see in him a frustration that the people of Earth still don't understand that he is not a political device that can be used how they want him to be used. And instead, he is there to save people. And he is being constantly beat down by the system and by all these corporate superheroes and all of this like talk about like who and what Superman needs to be. He's not about that. He is about, I am about hope. I'm about saving people. And if people are going to die, I'm going to act. It's not on anybody else. It's me. And we need to like make this like, and I think that will help introduce the Justice League with him at the helm, where they are making the choices, not the government.
Yeah,
Because he should be working outside of it. He shouldn't be a governmental entity or a corporate entity. And I remember early on, I remember hearing that there was going to be, and you might be able to remember, but I mentioned it. There was a movie called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It's a 1939
yeah,
movie.
we talked about this. Yeah,
Yeah, and they said that this is kind of related to it. And just a quick little thing: the film is about a naive, newly appointed U.S. senator who fights against government corruption, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's this guy who goes in probably with high esteems of what he's going to do, and finds out that there's a lot of government corruption. Same thing with Superman. He goes into a world where he wants to do good, and he's held back by the people in it running the system, aka Lex Luthor.
yeah. And I think that's going to be the whole thing. Is like Lex is going to be behind a lot of the campaign to um,
Smear's name.
besmirch him
Mm-hmm.
and eventually like call him to justice and use Ultraman and all the other
Mm-hmm.
characters and stuff. And yeah, I think yeah, I don't know.
Well,
It's interesting
I
because
guess.
I think Civil War touched on that in Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of like the Avengers being a part of the government, and
Mm-hmm.
Captain America obviously totally disagreeing with that, and Iron Man being for it and everything. But
Right.
I just really have a hard time seeing Superman in that light. I thought the shift that he did from Clark Kent to Kal El was really good.
Mm-hmm.
When he's like Miss Lane, everything like that. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very Christopher Reeves
Well, and
in
also
that
it's his
way.
loved one that is questioning him on his motives.
Yeah,
That could be
yeah,
another thing. I mean,
yeah.
who even Superman? I mean, again, we act like he's like this godlike being, which he is super powerful. No one really matches him, but he was raised in Kansas.
Yeah, that
He
doesn't mean
is
he's
like
hot blooded. Listen,
no,
okay,
no, no, no,
here,
no. But he's an emotional human. He is a human through and through with the abilities of a god.
here's the thing. When you have the powers and abilities of a god,
Hmm.
you're not. You are so in control of your emotions because a single slip up in your temper, a single
Hmm.
slam door,
Yeah,
pushing
like
someone out
Henry
of the way.
Cavill snapping the neck of General Zod. Hmm.
You know why he did that. Don't
Yeah,
even
it
act
was an
like
emotional outburst. Don't act like he was
it
stoic
was
in that
not an
moment.
emotional
Yep, it
outburst.
was.
He broke Zod's neck because Zod wasn't
He
stopping.
was crying to Zod, "Stop! I can't let you kill these people, and I will have to kill you if you don't."
He said, "Stop, please." You're totally thinking of it in a different light
No,
right
I
now
think you're trying to take
because you're
all the
like
emotion
corn
out of it.
sweat, corn sweat.
I'm not saying that Henry Cavill was bad. I'm just saying that he was emotional too. And I like this. We both have different agreeing. We
But
both have
I
different
think
views.
the elements of him being in that moment of vulnerability and pleading with Zod, not having a conversation with Lois about saving people. You know what I mean? That's a totally different situation. An emotional outburst in that moment, fighting Zod, pleading with him not to kill a innocent family
Hmm.
versus him talking to Lois Lane being like, I was doing the right thing, like I was saving people.
Hmm.
Like that just doesn't feel right. I get the passion behind he wants to help people and everyone's
Hmm.
criticizing him, but I don't know if that necessarily works. For me,
Well, we'll see.
like I said, there's so many different like versions of Superman that people like,
Hmm.
uh, and same with like Batman, dude. Like people have their opinions on Batman. Um,
Hmm. What
it's
about
hard.
what about Christopher Reeve, Superman? No, he can't do no wrong, right?
No, well, I mean, I think his
Because he was
first
also
movie is the
emotional
standard.
when Lois Lane died. He literally had such a bad fit of anger that he reversed time to save her.
Again, look at the context of the situation. He's not having a conversation with someone saying, "I don't want to have this conversation.
He's
Let me
not
go
breaking the
reverse the earth."
building down. He's not breaking the building down. He's just raising his voice saying like I can't understand how people don't see that what I'm doing is the right thing.
But Superman would see that. He would understand. He would see that the world isn't going to understand why I have to help everyone. I have to show them why.
Hmm.
He doesn't argue with them on why. He shows them why.
Yeah, and he's going to.
Yeah, I just again like yeah, I don't know.
I think
We'll
people
see
put him on
more.
too high of a pedestal. He is still human.
He is
He's
the
still human.
pedestal.
He is still human.
He is the pedestal. That is
Okay.
like his whole thing in the Justice League. That's that whole thing with Batman's like talking about Superman. He's like you could never break him. Like he is always good. He is always
Yeah, I
the
don't think he
standard.
was
Like
bad in that scene where he raised his voice at
no, I'm
her.
not saying he's a bad person in that scene. I'm
You're
just
saying that
saying
he has a weak of character because he's not as stoic enough.
well, yeah, I'm saying like if
He's
he's
not
getting
weak of
that
character
emotional
though.
and upset in a conversation, what's going to happen when he's fighting someone? Like what's going to happen? I don't
We
know.
saw. He's like,
Again,
eyes up here, buddy. And he goes and he's joking around and beating the crap out of a dragon. Kaiju.
yeah. Yeah. Again, we'll see. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
I'm not
Hey,
saying
fair
I'm not
enough.
excited for the movie. I'm
You
just
might
saying
not be excited when you hear that that scene is 12 minutes of the movie,
again, like who knows what
like 10% of
again,
that movie.
if that is 10% of the
12
movie,
minutes is
then
10% of that movie.
good gravy. Come on. I
Because
don't
it's going
know.
to be one of the shorter movies. It's like 100 and 139 minutes or something like that. No.
One thing I will be saying about these screenings and kind of the behind the scenes on Superman is it's been very messy. There has been a lot of editorial changes in terms of like editors. There's been a lot of stuff cut out. The screenings haven't gone very well. Um, there's speculation and discussion that it was supposed to be a lot more humorous and jokey, like a James Gunn movie. But executives didn't like that. They took out a lot of that stuff. They have basically done a lot of changes to it, and from what screenings have indicated, it's not necessarily very even. And that was like the comparison I was going to have to Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four has been very consistent. Superman's
Hmm.
been very up and down, with some people at certain points of the screenings really loving it, other people not liking it. So I mean, again, we don't know until we see it. So maybe it comes out,
Hmm.
it's phenomenal. Maybe it comes out and we're like, well, that wasn't what we expected. That's not what the trailers indicated. Because again, like trailers can inspire like different reactions in us. The music, the specific scenes that they show. But until we see the context of those scenes and what actually happens, we don't really know.
Okay. Fair enough. Disappointing.
You get so
Disappointing.
defensive. You're like,
I'm just so sad. It's like, man, I don't get it.
I think
Oh.
what's hard for me is Man of Steel is, I saw that at a younger age, and it just like that movie is still like one of
Mhm.
my favorites of all
I saw
time.
the original Supermans first.
Well, I remember
Um,
seeing the original Christopher Reeves Superman,
mhm.
and then I
So
remember
that's my
seeing the
standard. That's my standard. Is Christopher Reeve. And
come
of course
on.
I I loved Henry Cavill. I loved that, but I think that they butchered more of it as the movies went on. Man of Steel was
Yeah,
good, but no other one was good. Batman versus Superman, bad. Uh, Justice League, bad.
Snyder cut
Snyder
Justice League,
Snyder cut
good.
was okay, but it wasn't that good.
It was good.
I don't think so.
I think you've really taken a turn on it because of this new Superman. Because
No, it's not about this
this
new Superman.
vitriol
No,
towards the Snyder stuff wasn't there
I just didn't know you
before.
were a Snyder bro. I
I wasn't a
didn't
Snyder
know.
bro. Don't you put me
Yeah,
in that camp.
hey, you're
Don't
saying
you
Snyder's
dare.
good.
I am not one of those people.
Okay, okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I will never watch Rebel Moon. I don't think Zack Snyder's as amazing as a lot of people think he is.
Except for Man of Steel.
I really enjoyed Man of Steel. And I
Okay.
think Henry Cavill is still the best looking Superman and like in terms of fitting Superman. I think Christopher Reeves is like classic, but I think Henry Cavill is the standard, honestly. And until I see more
Interesting.
of David Cornslet, I won't know for sure. I don't
I mean, yeah,
like
we
his
only got
suit
trailers.
very much,
Yeah, we
which is
really
a
don't have
bummer.
much of him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Again, like he might blow me
yeah,
away. What if we watch this and I'm like, dude, that guy is Superman.
there
Like,
you
that
go.
was so good.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so.
And that's what I hope from both of these Fantastic Four and Superman. I hope
Hmm.
we come away like, oh my gosh, yeah,
Hmm.
these MCU, DCU, we're on the right track. Let's go.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I think DC has more to lose if Superman doesn't hit than the Marvel does.
Oh
So
yeah. Well, yeah, because they're hedging their bets on him. And I know
James
you didn't
Gunn and
care. I know you didn't care for Peacemaker, but I think Peacemaker was pretty good. And they actually introduced Hawk Girl is in season 2 of Peacemaker,
interesting. Okay.
and so is Guy Gardner. They both were in the
Yeah.
trailer for Peacemaker season 2.
I don't know. I mean, less people
Um,
watch Peacemaker than people watch Miss Marvel on Disney Plus.
I know that's crazy.
Uh,
But yeah, anyways, so hopefully good things from these. I mean, you can see both sides. I think that's kind of good about this podcast. We both kind
yeah.
of have both sides because people listening might have the same thing. Like, you know, there are people that still to this day hate some stuff that Marvel's done, and we're like, oh, we like that, and so it's good to have multiple sides. But yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have a good summer watching movies.
Yeah. And Jurassic Rebirth will be a fun movie, I think. I think you
Yep.
can't go wrong with dinosaurs and trying to survive.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
the
they weren't the
mutants are going
greatest.
a little crazy.
The other Jurassic Worlds were not the greatest, but I
I
think
did
this
like
one
the
kind of
first
going back.
Jurassic World.
First Jurassic World, I think was okay, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
going to an island rather than having the dinosaurs invade real life, because that also didn't really work in Lost World. I remember that was another thing where people were like, we didn't care for the movie as much. I
Yeah.
think when you
The
go
T
to an
Rex
isolated
stomping
island,
around, was it San Francisco or something, or San
yeah,
Diego?
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
I was
excited
going to
for it.
say, yeah, on the note of the dinosaurs, they were like, the dinosaurs live among us now, and then the next movie they're like, the dinosaurs died off because they couldn't survive in our ecosystem. And it's like what
Oh no, duh.
duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like people freaking out about I don't know if you heard anything about those dire wolves that were genetically engineered in a lab.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So even George, they even asked George R. R. Martin to come to their lab and hold the baby dire wolf because
That's
he's
cool.
made dire wolves so popular.
Mm-hmm.
But they like kind of like mixed together like genomes that would be in an original dire wolf, and they put it into like a gray wolf, which isn't the greatest like one-to-one connection, but it makes like a really large wolf.
Yeah.
Hence why they call it a dire wolf.
Yeah.
The thing is that the ecosystem that a dire wolf lived in was like huge fauna that they could kill for sustenance.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of ecosystem anymore.
No, we
So that kind
don't.
of thing, it kind of kills things off. So
Yeah.
will
I
be
mean, just
interesting
look
to
at
see.
just look at gray wolves right now.
Yep.
They struggled for a long time, and
Hmm.
they just in the past few decades started being
Hmm.
reintroduced to different places, environments, and everything like that. Have
Exactly.
improved a lot. So Yeah, dire wolves. I will say one thing. Dire wolves would be cool. They'd be awesome. Uh, I think woolly mammoths would be even cooler if they could
Mhm.
bring them back, even just to have them in a tiny little ecosystem.
I think it's a little too warm for them,
Park,
but maybe.
Jurassic Park style. Yeah,
True. Yeah, like in a zoo or something. That would be pretty
yeah.
cool.
Or maybe we're just gonna end up re, or maybe we're gonna end up living in a Jurassic World situation where
Hmm.
they get out and we end up dealing with the consequences. But yeah, we got some good movies, TV shows coming up. Yeah, exciting stuff all around.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I'm really hoping for some Warhammer stuff eventually.
Yes, Henry Cavill's working on that, which I am so glad because he knows
Yeah,
Warhammer through and through.
dude, yes. Where do
Um,
you think they should start? I've been wanting to kind of talk about that.
it has to be
Maybe we can.
40K.
You think so?
I think so. Like 30K is awesome, and the Horus Heresy is incredible, but you have to start in 40K because that is what the game is based on.
But
And then you
is
go
that gonna
back
be
eventually.
is that gonna be a good jumping off point? Because then, what's the point of doing 30K? You already know the outcome of
How
the
it ends up.
situation. Yeah.
Sure. What's the point in going back and doing the prequels of Star Wars? And even
I mean,
Andor in 2025, and we're getting answers to things that happened before the first movie.
yeah, I just think narratively for a universe that isn't, I think it makes more sense
Star Wars was
starting.
not a universe until the first ones came out.
Well, yeah, but I think 30K has a lot more potential to capture an audience than
Hmm.
40K being like, this is where we are right now. Because I think it just,
Hmm.
sure, it adds a lot of like, well, what happened to the God Emperor? What happened to all the
Sure,
Primarchs? Why is
sure,
Gilliman the only one around? Why is
sure.
Lion Johnson crazy? You know? Um,
Well, that's 41st or 42nd millennia or something like that.
yeah, I guess that's a little further ahead. I
Yeah,
think 30K would be. I love the Horus Heresy books. You know,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
even
No,
all the way
Horus Heresy's
through,
awesome. You
but
know what?
just
I have
like,
some Warhammer buddies. I'm going to talk to them after this and see what they say.
yeah, ask what they think because I
Uh,
think 30K is the best place to start.
let's see, 40K is awesome because guess what? We have Titus.
Yeah,
We could have him in live action. Imagine
I think
Rolo from the Vikings, Clive
it would that would be cool.
Stanton or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the voice
Um
actor.
that's interesting. I don't know cuz part of me is also like are we doing live action Warhammer 40K or is
I
it going to
think
be
so.
like
I
yeah,
think
I
it's
think
live
it'll be live
action.
action, but like I also
Yeah.
think that an animated would work better, but
Oh,
it's
I
not
think
going to
they could do
be.
both. I think they could do both.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I
true.
mean, look at what they did in Secret Level. Like that was
Oh my
incredible.
gosh, yeah, that's
That was
so
probably their
good.
best one. I mean, I go
Yeah.
back and watch that right now.
Yeah, I loved that.
Hmm.
Astartes 2 comes out next year.
Yeah.
Which will be awesome. That trailer is so sick. Seeing
Hmm.
all the different chapters and stuff. Oh,
Hmm.
dope.
And I mean, Space Marine 2 as a game was even sick, and their
Yeah.
cutscenes
It was
incredible.
super yeah, and it was super popular when it was first out. And it only lost that traction because of lack of updates and content,
Hmm.
which all live service games seem to
I
struggle
kind of
with.
want to
They
go back to
don't
that
seem to
game.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you played Halo Infinite at all?
Not recently, no.
Huh. Okay, we're getting a little off track.
Yeah.
It was fun recording with you, bro. I knew we were gonna kind of like try to record maybe yesterday, and it didn't work out, or the day
Yeah,
before on like Friday, or wait, yesterday was Friday. Today's Saturday. Um,
indeed.
but yeah, I'm excited to get back and do this again.
Same, dude. Yeah, that was awesome. Glad we could do this. Thank you all for listening.
Hmm.
Check out Yoslo's channel on YouTube and
Streaming a lot
Twitch.
right now,
Yes, streaming a lot, indeed.
and Oddball,
Streaming,
home to all Star Wars.
of course. Yeah, you can't go wrong. And then my live streams, of course. I play Helldivers. I play other stuff.
Yeah,
Um, that seems to my only crossover seems to be Helldivers and Halo in terms of video games when I
yeah,
make
yeah,
stream.
yeah,
But yeah, no. Anyways, again, subscribe to the channel, like,
yeah.
leave a comment down below what you think. Check us out on Spotify as well. or
Mhm.
wherever you get podcasts, because I will be uploading this to the other platforms because why not? And
Yeah,
yeah, cool. Uh,
cool.
let's get on out of here
All right.
into
See ya,
another
everybody.
theory.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, until our next theory, we'll be back.
I kind of jumped the gun there. All right, later, guys.
Peace.